When is a parent born? When your world changes in a moment? Nani? Or when the moment is celebrated by all? When you start learning again? Or with a new role? Is it your child's first breath? Or is it just a feeling? Parents are born when they fulfill a responsibility.
Your child's umbilical cord blood can provide protection from 80 life-threatening diseases. Keep it safe with Asia's largest stem cell bank, Cordlife. One chance, one choice.
Good morning, everyone. This is Vinay from Cordlife, and today we have Dr. Sonali ma'am as pregnancy, lactation, and child nutrition counselor. She will be presenting on labor preparation. So, before starting with the session, I'll just brief you about the company, about Cordlife. The organizer is Cordlife in association with Dr. Meera Agarwal Nursing Home. So let's just talk about stem cells before starting with the child labor preparation. Cordlife is into business of storing stem cells. What we do is we collect cord blood and cord tissue and we process it, we store it for lifelong, depending on the package you choose. So once the sample has been extracted, what we do is we freeze it in minus 196 degrees Celsius for 75 years, 21 years. And once, God forbid, if something goes wrong, if there is any ailment where stem cells can be used to treat the patient, the stem cells are used. We have done most of the cases in India, and this company is the only multinational company which is present in India as a stem cell bank. There are other countries where Cordlife is present in 10 different countries with the largest market cap. So this was all about Cordlife. We will have a detailed presentation one-on-one after the session. Someone from my team member, some of my team members will approach and fix more exclusive or more in-person presentation so that it is easy to comprehend and ask all your questions. So we'll stick to the current thing, which is labor preparation by Sonali ma'am. I'll hand it over to Sonali ma'am. Ma'am, up to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Vinay, for the introduction and joining us this morning to share a few details.
Thanks.
Hi, everybody. A very, very warm welcome and thank you for joining us today for this session. We have been organizing these classes in association with Dr. Meera Agarwal and Agarwal Nursing Home for quite some time now. It's been quite a journey. So many years, actually, I would say. But, you know, before the pandemic, we used to actually do physical sessions at the nursing home. But that's something which has not been happening because of the pandemic. And due to that, we've been moving to the online platform. As Vinay has already introduced, this session has been brought to us courtesy by Cordlife. Cordlife is one of India's leading stem cell banks. And when the pandemic started, this is one thing that I always say, during these sessions. It was very commendable that they took the initiative, and from April onwards, last year, April onwards, all these online sessions had started. So that's something which is commendable. It's proactive by the Cordlife team. My name is Sonali Shivlani, and I am a pregnancy, lactation, and child nutrition counselor. I have been in this space for the last 17 plus years now. And my zone also has been, my physical center is also in Khar West. So I've been in this area, working in this space for more than 17 years now. I have two kids of my own. Of course, my kids can't be called kids anymore. They are grown-up adults. So my son turns 21 this year. My daughter turns 19. So it's been a journey. I love telling stories and I love teaching with example. So I'm hoping that today's session also will be with a lot of stories and examples, and we will remove the fear out of the word labor, and that's what the whole idea is, right? So the session is about an hour in length. So I'm hoping that you have your bottle of water, lots of cushions, you've eaten your breakfast, and if your husband is at home, I would encourage your husband to join you as well. If you've realized we have kept you on mute, you will not be able to unmute yourself, but that doesn't mean you can't ask questions. So you can put all your questions in the question box. So in the dashboard on your screen, you will be able to find a section which is called questions. So put your questions there and we'll be really happy to answer all your questions before we end the session. For those of you who attended the first class that we did a month ago, which was related to diet, nutrition, and exercise, welcome back. For those of you who missed it, do stay in touch so that when the sessions are getting organized again, you will definitely get the opportunity to attend the class. So stay in touch with the Cordlife team. Stay in touch with Radhika, who's at the Agarwal Nursing Home desk, and they will keep you appraised of any future sessions that are being organized in the pregnancy, birth, and the post-delivery stage, right? So without taking more time, let's just get deep dive straight into labor and delivery and demystify what everybody's so scared of and how we can cope with this. So before I even actually jump into labor, it's not just about that particular day, right? It's not just about those few hours, 10, 12, 20 hours of labor, but there is a preparation that goes into labor, right? Suppose, think about this. If you have to run a marathon today, you probably will not be able to do it. There is a preparation that is required. There is some kind of training that you need to undergo. And all of these come in various areas. So all of the things that I've mentioned on the screen, whether it's your diet, whether it's exercise, whether it's staying away from myths and fads, and also keeping yourself relaxed and stress-free. These are things which will help you to run that marathon. So your labor, your delivery day is actually a marathon at the end of pregnancy. And if you take care of yourself during pregnancy, then you will be able to run this marathon without much effort. But if you ignore these areas, then the delivery of 10, 12, 20 hours can actually become a little bit more difficult and troublesome to manage. So now let's see how we can make these little changes in our lifestyle during pregnancy to ensure that labor treats us a little bit better than what it would if I wasn't taking care of myself. So we'll start with your healthy diet. When you eat healthy, of course, you're nourishing your baby. I think that's what everybody talks about, right? I'm doing it for my baby. It keeps you healthy. It keeps your hormones in balance. And that also ensures that, your pregnancy complaints are reduced. Your labor starts on time. It starts spontaneously. It doesn't start because of it being forced. Very importantly, eating healthy also helps to build your immunity. And right now in this COVID time, especially when pregnant women are still wondering whether they can get vaccinated or not, it actually helps you to build your immunity and will keep you stronger. So what are we going to do? We are going to eat a balanced diet. If I ask people, do you know what is healthy? Most people do know what is healthy, right? If I say, a bowl of vegetables with roti, you'll say, of course, it's healthy. But the question is it balanced? No. Even though it's healthy, it's not balanced. And to get all the nutrients and to ensure that you get the best benefit out of your diet, you need to eat a balanced diet. And when I use the word balance, I'm talking about all the different food groups, whether it's your healthy carbs, so all the different unrefined grains like whole wheat, jawar, bajra, nachni, oats, you should include all these in your diet. Your fruits and vegetables, multiple colors, especially seasonal and fresh. The third thing would be a good dose of protein. So making sure that you have ample protein, because that actually helps to grow the baby. Protein is the building block of cells. Vegetarian or non-vegetarian, you should focus on your protein intake. The fourth is your calcium, which helps to build the baby's bones and teeth, and also ensures that your bone density loss does not happen. And last but not the least is healthy fats. So things like, olive oil, walnuts, almonds, flax seeds, avocados, all of these are going to give you some healthy fats. So including all of these in a single day's diet would be really, really helpful, because that means you're taking a balanced meal. And during pregnancy, you do need to eat every 2-3 hours. Simple reason, your baby is eating constantly. Your baby is attached to your blood flow, which means we need to maintain your sugar levels. It can't be, spikes and drops. So keeping that in perspective, if you eat a little something every 2-3 hours, it will help to maintain your sugar levels. You need to ensure that you have about 10 to 12 glasses of water every day. That's really important. Not only is it going to help you with digestion, keep you away from constipation, but most importantly, it helps to maintain amniotic fluid levels, which in turn are going to ensure that you are, not going to go into early labor or preterm contractions, right? Now, in spite of eating healthy, you still need to take your prenatal supplements, which becomes really, really valuable. We don't know how all this amazing food that you're eating is getting absorbed in your system, right? So the supplements, when you take them, they're very highly absorbable. They are very highly available to your body. So when you take them, they get absorbed into your bloodstream very rapidly. And so even if there is a little deficiency somewhere, the supplements can take care of it. So make sure that you are very particular about these. If there are particular supplements which are not suiting you, makes you feel nauseous, makes you feel uncomfortable, then you must ensure that you take an alternative from your doctor, which will help you to balance out your diet, and there are no deficiencies which are created. After all, we have only 9 months to build a perfect baby, isn't it? Then comes exercise. Now, when I'm talking about exercise, of course, it's going to help to prepare your body for labor, because it helps to stretch the pelvis. Now, this is your pelvis. This is where the baby is going to come out from. And it actually helps to make this pelvis a little bit more elastic, a little bit more flexible. So when the baby is actually trying to come through, it is going to be very, very helpful. It will help to reduce aches and pains. So things like, backache, cramps in the legs, all these definitely get better. Exercise releases endorphins, so it helps to relax you. You feel much more at peace. And because of that, you also tend to sleep better. There has been a lot of research which says that when the mother exercises, her metabolism improves, and this actually improves the metabolism of the baby. It improves the heart condition of the baby. So it definitely is good for fetal development as well. Now, recommendations are of course a lot, but safest exercise is walking. So if you can't really get any supervision, then you can just go for a walk. But you have to remember that you have to wear good shoes, walk on safe surfaces, and wear comfortable clothes, carry a bottle of water, and walk at a brisk pace. Don't kind of, go for a stroll, right? So walk at a brisk pace. You should not get breathless, but you should not also be able to carry on a full-fledged gossip conversation while you're walking, right? If you are looking at doing some antenatal exercises, you should definitely consult your doctor before you start, but you should also consider taking this up under supervision, because in case, you make some mistakes here and there, having some guidance would be really, really helpful. And of course, there are lots of online classes available now. I'm also going to leave my contact details on the screen at the end of this session, so that, if you need to get in touch with us for exercise classes, you can. Breathing exercises are a must, an absolute must, because they not only tone your abdominal muscles, build up your lung capacity, but these things actually help in your final labor performance. So exercise becomes very, very valuable. For your benefit, here are a few labor preparation exercises or birth preparation exercises that we would recommend. So the first one is squats. You need to make sure that you have good support because of the growing abdomen, your center of gravity is not well maintained. So just make sure you take some good support, maybe with a wall, a foam chair, a couch, your husband, whatever works for you. There is no minimum maximum count that I would prescribe. I would say that you should start with doing about 8 squats every day, but that's really less. We're just preparing your body. So in another 2-3 days, once you're comfortable with 8, you can increase that to 12 and then go up to 16. Women who are coming to regular classes with us, they're doing almost 80 to 90 squats every day. So that's the level that you have to reach. The second one is your butterfly position, where you are sitting with your feet close to your pelvis. This is great for stretching that pelvis again. And this is a great exercise that you can do wherever. Like, while you're watching TV, while you're talking on the phone, while you're just sitting, you could sit in this position. The third exercise is leg raises, where you are lying on a non-slip mat, if that is possible, on the floor. Lie down straight, make sure your body is in a straight line, and then raise your leg. First you're going to do one side, you can do about 8 counts, and then you can do the other side for 8 counts. The fourth exercise, that's the lady in the pink on the bottom corner. She is sitting on a commode, if you can see, but I don't want you to do this exercise on a commode. You are going to do this exercise outside of the bathroom, but the focus is the pelvic floor muscles, the vaginal muscles. So you have to just squeeze as if you were trying to stop the flow of urine, and then release, and then squeeze, and then release. Try and do about 50 to 70 counts every day, but definitely do not try to stop the flow of urine. That's going to weaken your bladder. So do it outside. You can do it in the car. You can do it while cooking. You can do it while watching TV, whatever works for you, right? And the last one is your deep breathing. So when you're doing deep breathing, you do not hold your breath anywhere. You take a deep inhale all the way till your lower abdomen, and an exhale, and inhale, and an exhale, and try and do about 30-40 deep breaths every morning. And this is the only exercise that I ask mothers to do in the morning and in a non-air conditioned environment. Now let's dive into labor, right? That's what we're all here for. Full term is considered to be between week 37 to week 40. Anything which comes before this becomes preterm. Anything which is after this becomes postterm. In case you start experiencing any kind of contractions before 37 weeks, that means you're headed to preterm labor, right? So you should immediately report to the doctor. Do not sit and wait and watch at home, because the faster you get to your doctor, the easier it is for them to manage it. In many cases, it might also be possible to give you some medications to slow labor down, to stop labor. It is also possible that the doctor will be able to give you medications to mature the baby's lungs, which will mean that you require less stay in the NICU. And that's definitely a plus point. So do not wait at home if you experience any of my pre-labor signs, which I'm going to talk about now. So here's what you can expect in the last 15 days before labor is supposed to happen. The first is that the head engages, right? So we all know that the baby in the womb is moving around. It could be in a head down position, buttocks down position, sideways. So all through pregnancy, this happens. But somewhere in the 8th month, the baby finally does settle, becomes really big, and there's very little space. So the baby settles into what we call the head down position. But the head is still moving. The head is still floating. The head is still outside the pelvis. But when labor is due to start, and we don't know when, right? We do have a due date, but that's not necessary when the baby will want to come. So just about 15 days before the onset of labor, the baby's head is going to drop and fix and engage and lock, right? Now, once this happens, you are going to see a distinctive change in the way your belly looks. So from your belly looking like a large watermelon and pushing against your lungs, it will suddenly start looking like a pear. and it will now be pushing against your bladder, right? So you're going to start feeling a lot of frequent urination, maybe increased vaginal discharge. So all of these, discomforts will now move to the lower part of your body. You will also experience an increase in Braxton Hicks contractions. Braxton Hicks are called your fake contractions. They feel as if they're painless, they're short, they're sporadic. It just feels as if the abdomen is tightening for a bit and then it's releasing. And then that's the fundamental that it would follow, right? And then you have cervical changes, which the doctor will be able to assess. So throughout pregnancy, your cervix is long, thick, and tightly closed. And then once labor is about to start, your cervix starts becoming shorter and softer. So when the doctor does an internal examination, the doctor will be able to ascertain that the cervix is kind of, changing. And then that gives an indication to your doctor that this mother is soon going to be ready to have her baby. In the last 48 hours prior to labor, you will probably see a lot of mucousy discharge because this long, thick and tightly closed cervix, now that it's becoming shorter, will lose the mucus plug. It has this mucus which blocks it, which prevents any kind of infection from entering into this lovely sterile environment. And now this starts falling out. And it could be accompanied with a little bit of blood, which is called the bloody show. So if it's a little bit, brownish, pinkish, you don't really need to be worried about it. But if it's a lot, then that becomes a warning sign. Many mothers will also report loose motions or multiple bowel movements prior to the actual onset of labor. Your lower back pain will start and it will be more like spasms. It won't be like the dull lower back pain that you have during pregnancy, which goes away when you change position, when you get a massage or you use a hot water bag. But this is like a spasm which grips your lower back and then just simply goes away and you're normal again. And in spite of all of these discomforts, your energy levels start peaking. It's kind of instinctive because mothers, suddenly they want to finish some shopping, some cleaning, some cooking, or, they think that, oh my God, I need to live it up. I want to party. So that's the kind of sensation or feeling that you might have 48 hours prior to the actual onset of labor. Once labor actually starts, you're going to have regular contractions. Mothers generally ask me, what do contractions feel like? And in spite of having 2 kids and having had 2 labors, I still find it very difficult to really explain it. For many mothers, it's like period cramps. Starts at the top, extends to the bottom, starts from the back, extends to the front. For some mothers, it's also like a feeling of, weakness. I kind of, when I talk about my labor contractions, it kind of felt as if I was feeling weak. My thighs couldn't stand, my legs couldn't support me. I had those kind of feelings, right? For some people, it's also just a hardening of the abdomen, which feels as if, the stomach is like a hard ball and then it kind of just relaxes. As labor progresses, frequency and intensity is going to go on increasing, which means the contractions are going to come closer and closer together and they're going to become more and more intense. And one of the things we've also noted is that activity increases the intensity. So when we're looking at activity, think about it, right? If it's the middle of the night and you're getting some contractions and you're not sure whether it's real labor or not, just get up and walk around. If while walking around you feel the contraction becomes more intense, then you're probably in real labor. But if the contraction starts diminishing, then you're probably, having more Braxton Hicks contractions and it's a false alarm. Here's what you have to do as far as timing the contractions is concerned. You do have many apps, but you also have the traditional pen and paper version where you note down the start time and the end time of each contraction. The difference between the start time and the end time is the duration. And the difference between the start of one contraction to the start of the next contraction is called your frequency. The time that is there between the contractions is called the period of relaxation. There is no pain here, no discomfort here. And this is the time where you have to conserve your energy so that then you can cope with the next contraction, which is definitely going to come really soon. The question generally is, when should I go to the hospital? And the answer is that when the contractions are regular and they're coming approximately 20 minutes apart is when you should start off. that would be my heartfelt recommendation. But of course, you do need to consider that is the hospital really far away, or in case you or your partner feeling nervous, then if you feel that you are in labor, then you might as well just head yourself to the hospital. Another reason to go to the hospital is when the water bag breaks. So the baby is in an amniotic sac, and when the cervix starts opening, the water bag can bulge through, and it's really possible that the water bag will burst. That may not happen in all cases, it happens in a few cases only. So don't wait for the water bag to break. If you're getting regular contractions, you are in labor, you must go to the hospital. But if you're not getting contractions and you are feeling a gush or a trickle of liquid, then again, that's your water bag breaking. And even if there are no contractions, you should go to the hospital, because the sterile environment of the baby is now open, infections can set in, and the doctor would like to deliver the baby within 24 hours. Once you arrive at the hospital, what's going to happen? The doctor is going to check you. They'll determine whether you are really in labor or not. And it's okay to have a false alarm. You don't have to worry about it, right? So if you are in true labor, you will be admitted. If you're not, you will be sent home. Your vital signs are checked. The baby's heart tones are monitored. And then you're left on your own. They'll keep checking periodically. They'll also check your cervical dilation, etc. periodically, but more or less, labor is allowed to progress naturally. We don't need to do anything, because it's a natural physiological process. We just need to support you and keep checking to make sure that everything's moving on track. In the first stage of labor, the cervix is going to shorten, as I told you, right? The first thing, the cervix is going to shorten, and then after that, the cervix has to open. So the cervix is going to open from 0, and that's how it can look like at 1 centimeter dilation, which is the space of 1 finger, and then maybe a little bit later it's the space of 2 fingers, and slowly and steadily as the cervix dilates, the cervix is going to open up to 10 centimeters, which is the size of your baby's head. And this entire process is called the first stage of labor. That's the effacement and dilatation of the cervix. In the second stage of labor, the doctor will guide you. You will be feeling intense contractions. You will feel a very strong urge to push. And with your pushes, the baby is going to now exit from its warm, uterine environment out into the world. So the second stage of labor is the journey of the baby from the uterus to the outside world. And this is motivated by 2 things. One is the pushes by the uterus, and the second will be the pushes that the mother would have to give. So you will get specific instructions, and your doctor will surely be present right at your side to help you with all of these contractions to push the baby out. In the third stage of labor, we are delivering the placenta. Now, as you all know, the placenta inside in your body is the baby's support system. We also call it the slave of the baby, the afterbirth, whatever. It's got lots of names, right? So once the baby is born, the placenta becomes a dead organ, and it really has no business being there. It's redundant. So with the following contractions, the placenta also separates from the wall of the uterus, and it will exit. It will be out of the uterus as well. Now let's talk about the actual tapping. All of this, the doctor will manage. It's normal, it's physiological, it's so easy for us to say, right? But now how do we actually cope with all of these things? So the first thing that you should remember is that stress causes pain. And therefore, the more relaxed a mom is, there's going to be less stress, and hence there will be less pain. The less pain that the mom experiences, the faster labor is going to progress. And therefore, the best labor management tool is actually stress management. Let me teach you some magic tricks, right? On a Saturday morning, we're going to do some magic. And this is where all of this is going to help you. So let's learn a few things that are going to help us to manage our labor. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to avoid screaming. I know, we've seen this so often in movies, right? Loud screams, lots of sweating, lots of anguish. And then with one final scream, that baby is out, right? But actually, it's something that you should avoid. You should try and ensure that do avoid the screaming, because all you're going to do is expel your energy. You're going to be tired, you're going to get exhausted, and you're also going to tighten yourself up, because you can't scream in a relaxed position, isn't it? When you scream, your entire body becomes tight and becomes kind of, restricted. So keep that in perspective. Make sure that you are relaxed and stress free, and then you kind of uh, give enough oxygen to your baby as well, because you're not screaming and using up all your energy. So if you're not doing this, then what can you do? You can breathe. And I'm going to teach you what kind of breathing you should be doing during labor. We'll do it together now. But it's also very important that whatever you learn today, you have to practice later at home as well, right? It's not that you're going to learn it and you're going to use it during your labor only. You have to practice it, because it's something which is a little different, and your body needs to practice it so that it becomes second nature for you, okay? So let's just sit back and relax and close your eyes. Place one hand on your chest and place the other hand on your abdomen, okay? Now prepare your body. Imagine that you're feeling a contraction coming on. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. Now switch to short breaths. Breathe in through your nose, blow out through your mouth. Very short breaths, only to your chest. Breathe in through your nose, blow out through your mouth. We'll do it only for 30 seconds. Keep going. And your contraction is disappearing. So take a deep breath in and relax. Now remember that period of relaxation, that's what's happening right now. You have no contraction, no pain, so just close your eyes and breathe normally. Try and think of nice things. Try and think of positive thoughts. Just relax. Okay. Now you can feel another contraction coming on. So take a deep breath in. Exhale. Switch to short breaths. Breathe in through the nose, blow out through the mouth, only till the chest. And your contraction is disappearing. So take a deep breath in and release. Right? And again comes a period of relaxation and the contraction. So this kind of practice for 5 cycles you should do every day. And tell yourself this, I can feel a contraction coming on, I'm doing my breathing, I'm coping with it, and then so on and so forth. The next thing you have to remember is visit the bathroom. When you're visiting the bathroom, you are actually emptying your bladder. So remember when I said that you would probably experience multiple bowel movements or loose motions before the onset of labor? So what's happening when that is the situation is that your rectum, that is your bowels, get emptied out, which gives more space to the vaginal area, right? If I send you to the bathroom every 45 minutes to an hour, this is also going to empty out your bladder, which means there'll be more space right here for the baby to come through. And this is something which is extremely essential and important. It also helps to relax you, right? Because you really can't pee when you're tense. So every time you visit the bathroom, you'll get, hold your pelvis wide, you will relax and you will pee. And then, your bladder gets emptied and you're relaxed. So that also helps the baby to move down a little bit more faster. Another thing that you should keep in mind is try to be in an upright position. When you are in an upright position, your body gets, the advantage of gravity. And this can be very valuable as far as letting the baby move down a little bit faster. Another thing that you can keep in mind is try to move. This is very, very essential, right? So move around because think about it like this, right? Your baby is a big pillow and your uterus is the pillow cover. So when you are trying to remove the pillow from the pillow cover, what do? You move, you shake it, you pull it, you tug it, you provide it some traction. and that's what gets the pillow to come down. The same way when you kind of, walk, squat, sway, dance, do all of these kind of movements during your labor that can actually help the baby to move down a little bit more faster. Massage can be very helpful during labor because massage actually helps to relax you. It releases endorphins in your system. It makes you feel comforted. So some of the points which can work is your lower back, which is obviously where the pain is generated, right? So you kind of have these contractions which start in the lower back and extend into the front of the abdomen. So try and ensure that, whoever your partner is giving you a nice rub, a gentle massage in your lower back. Some mothers might also like a shoulder rub because it's kind of relaxing. It helps to make you feel comfortable, and it just helps to ensure that you just feel comforted at that point of time. You could also get a belly rub, but a belly rub has to be really gentle. One of the things that your partner has to remember is that, you should always maintain constant touch when you are doing the massage during a contraction. Once the contraction is gone, then, the massager can take a break, your partner can take a break. But during a contraction, your touch should be maintained. It should be a constant, touch therapy which is maintained for the mother. These are some natural pain relief options. Make sure that you're relaxing. Practice your breathing exercises. Practice massage. Imagery where you are actually thinking about positive situations or positive experiences, like maybe your your favorite holiday spot or your honeymoon, or the fun that you had at your wedding or whatever. Thinking about some positive experiences can be a part of imagery. You can also imagine certain situations or certain colors or techniques or anything that you can use to divert your mind. Diversion techniques are, some people like to chant Om. Some people like to kind of, do beads. I had a client who, this is a few years ago, but she was really, really fond of the Friends sitcom. And what she did was that she carried a portable DVD player with the entire Friends seasons, all 10 seasons with her. And then she ran it during her labor. Of course, now we have the OTT platform, so we don't need the portable DVD player and the DVDs. We can just watch what we want to. So this can also be a diversion technique that you could use. So whatever works for you, right? Whether it's chanting, listening to music, watching favorite TV shows, or just listening to jokes which your partner is telling you. So whatever works is great for diversion. As far as eating and drinking during labor is concerned, when you come into the hospital, please check with your doctor. Right? Before leaving from home also, don't eat a large meal. Eat something very light, like maybe some soup and toast, or a cup of tea and toast, or, you could probably have some khichdi. So don't eat like a big meal thinking that, oh my God, I'm not going to get to eat anything in the next 24 hours. But large meals can cause vomiting, and it can also be risky if you need an emergency surgery. We do need to keep you hydrated, so you can keep sipping on water, or you can suck on ice chips if they are available. You can also try high sugar foods in tiny bits. So of course, this is if your sugar levels are normal. So things like glucose water, soft hard-boiled sweets, glucose biscuits, or pieces of chocolate, right? So those can be instant bursts of energy, but in tiny bites, and then they get absorbed also really rapidly. So then you don't need to worry about causing an emergency for yourself. Medical pain relief options are also available. They are safe. It's not that, oh my God, I don't want to. Please don't have preconceived notions about these. So epidural analgesia is very widely used for all lower body surgeries. And if labor is long, if labor is painful, it's going to exhaust you. So sometimes the doctor will recommend that what don't you consider an epidural, because that can keep you comfortable during labor, and it can also give you the energy to then, meet the baby, enjoy the baby once the baby is born. So if labor is long and if it's really painful, then epidural analgesia can be considered. It does not have any long-term side effects. So do discuss this alternative with your doctor. A spinal block is used for a cesarean section birth. It's the concept is the same like an epidural. It's still inserted into the lower back, but the difference being is that because it's for a surgical procedure, it's given as a single shot and not like a catheter. So it's not like a continuous long duration pain relief the way epidurals would work. Entonox is laughing gas, nitrous oxide, and it is available at certain birthing centers. So you can consider this if you want short-term pain relief. Here it is pretty much controlled by you. If you're feeling uncomfortable, you can take a whiff of it. It gives you relief for a bit, and then you have to take a whiff of it again. So these are for short-term relief. Like, for example, you're very close to delivery, you're almost 8 centimeters dilated, taking an epidural may not make sense. So then, considering an Entonox at that point of time might be an option or an alternative for you. In certain cases, a surgical birth may be required. If it is a pre-existing condition, this is called a planned C-section. So when we are talking about pre-existing conditions, it could be the position of the baby, it could be the position of the placenta. The placenta is covering the mouth of the uterus. We really can't do anything about it. Maybe the mother or the baby has some pre-existing condition which is going to make a vaginal birth difficult and could also result in a bad outcome. So the doctor will suggest that, okay, let's pick a date. If you are going to have a planned C-section, the recommendation is to take a date which is about 7 to 10 days before your expected due date, so that you do not go into spontaneous labor and again create the same emergency. So 7 to 10 days, as soon as the doctor feels the baby is ready, the doctor will tell you that, okay, everything looks good, you can pick a date in the next few days and we can deliver the baby. There are some conditions which are unplanned, and these can happen during labor. No one can predict it. A lot of times mothers ask this question that, what if, how would I know? Will I have a normal delivery? It's not possible to predict it. Sometimes we have mothers who follow the best diet, they exercise regularly, they're amazing, they're really very positive minded. But still, if the cervix does not dilate, if the baby does not move down, if there are any signs of distress, that means the baby's heart rate is fluctuating, or if there is a maternal infection, then we might need to have an unplanned cesarean section, which happens only after labor has started. And you have to remember that a surgical birth is always done to save lives, either the mothers or the babies. And you should not take it as an option for convenience. That, this date is auspicious, my mother can come on this date, my husband's traveling on this date, I like this date. So those are not your reasons for a cesarean section. You should only let the doctor decide that a surgical birth is a necessity in your case and then go for it. Otherwise, vaginal birth would be your best option. You have to keep this in mind, right? I have this beautiful baby up there, right? So beautiful. How can you look at this with a feeling of dread? So birth is a new beginning, and you should welcome it with all the positivity possible.
When is a parent born? When your world changes in a moment. Nani? Or when the moment is celebrated by all. When you start learning again. Or with a new role. Is it your child's first breath? Or is it just a feeling? Parents are born when they fulfill a responsibility.
Your child's umbilical cord blood can provide protection from 80 life-threatening diseases. Keep it safe with Asia's largest stem cell bank, Cordlife. One chance, one choice.
And here is an absolute surprise, right? For all of you mamas who are attending today's session, Cordlife and Mama Earth are bringing you this special gift voucher of rupees 300. Using this voucher, you can actually do some shopping for yourself for skin and hair care products, which are natural. And these are maternity and baby care products. So Mama Earth is a brand which specializes in natural products for mother and baby. So make sure that you kind of utilize this voucher to do a little bit of shopping and buy some amazing products for yourself and for your baby. The Cordlife team will be in touch with you in about 48 to 72 hours post this session, and they will be sharing this voucher with you as well as a recording of this session. So then that will give you the advantage of revising any concepts that you may want to after the class. These are some books which are available in the market, which have been written by me. The first is Prenatal Fitness 360 Degrees, which is all about exercise. So when you open this book, it has exercise pictures, explanation, more than 100 pregnancy exercises, post-delivery exercises, exercises with your baby, with your husband, and also a lot of diet charts and etc. So that's something that is a good buy. Parenting mantras is for taking care of your baby. And what we're looking at is things like breastfeeding, toilet training, teething, spending quality time, brain development. So a lot of these aspects are covered in this book. And then if you want your baby 6 months and above and you're starting to give solids, then Super Mom's recipe book could really help you because you get some variety of foods that you could feed your child. And now we're going to be open to questions. But before I move there, you have my personal coordinates on this page. So you have my website, my Facebook and Instagram handles. I would really want you to follow and like us there because we do a lot of fun stuff there, right? And it's not just about pregnancy. We go into parenting as well. So you'll get a lot of content for many years to come. And then you have the YouTube channel. And if you would like a free pregnancy tip of the day, then you can send a WhatsApp message to 766-360-360 and my staff will add you to that group. Remember, it's an admin only group. No questions are answered there. It's only for a tip of the day. Then you have all the Cordlife numbers. And I'm sure you'd like to make a note of this. Of course, you want to get your gift voucher and the recording of this session. But if you also would like to take a presentation to understand more about stem cell banking, then you can also reach out on these numbers. So I have a mobile number up there for Cordlife, a WhatsApp number, there's a toll-free number, and then there's also an SMS number. So just make sure that you make a note of all these numbers. I'm going to give you like a few seconds to take a screenshot if you want to. If your mobile is right next to you, just make sure you do that, so that you are not missing out on any of these contact details, right? So I'm going to move into the questions and we'll be really happy to answer them. I hope you put in a lot of questions for me. All right, so there is a question here which is asking about epidural analgesia and the side effects and the recovery time. So typically what happens in an epidural is that we recommend that you take the epidural once you reach the active stage of labor, which is at around 3 centimeters of dilatation. If you take it too early, then it could actually slow labor down for you. So you should get into active labor and then take it. Taking it after 8 or 9 centimeters might not make the best sense because then you're almost ready to deliver. The biggest side effect, if you ask me, is that you lose your sensation to push, and therefore you need guidance to actually push the baby out because you don't know when the contraction's coming, you don't know how much pressure you're applying and whether it's effective or not. So that I would say is the biggest side effect. Some of the smaller known things that we do know is that it could kind of cause fluctuations in blood pressure. So you need to be monitored constantly, which means that the anesthetist has to be in the room with you, which kind of makes you lose your privacy. All right. So it's a decision that you have to make because if you kind of need the pain relief, then yeah, you can live with the anesthetist as well. It could cause a mild local infection where the injection is administered. Then that can happen with pretty much any injection. So you need to take that with a pinch of salt. Post delivery, the epidural wears off in a few hours and you can start wriggling your toes and etc. What is recommended if you've taken an epidural is that as soon as possible, start moving your legs so that you do not get any blood clots. And these can be the biggest, fear factor. So don't be like really like absolutely docile. Just keep moving your legs, wriggling your toes, trying to slide your legs up and down if you've taken an epidural. And then as soon as you're allowed to, please get up and start walking around because that's going to help your recovery to be much faster. Recovery from an epidural is generally not going to take you more than 24 to 48 hours. Okay. So the next question is, my first delivery was normal. Is there high possibility of having normal delivery the second time too? Yes, absolutely. Lots of reasons, right? Because your birth history is known, you yourself are more relaxed and comfortable. The pelvis is already stretched a bit. So the chances of a normal delivery are really high unless there is a medical condition which prevents it. So I'm 37 weeks pregnant. My doctor mentioned that there is cord near the baby's neck, hence wanted to understand is there possibility of normal delivery. So the cord, first and foremost, remember one thing, the baby is attached to the placenta with the cord, right? So the cord goes into the umbilicus of the baby and to the placenta on the other side. When the baby moves around, the cord is going to get wrapped around the baby. So wrapped, unwrapped movement, it's normal. There's nothing that you and me can do to either put the cord there or remove the cord. So, it's not our fault. So a lot of people say, we keep our hand like this, the cord will go around the neck. We sleep in a particular way, the cord will go around the neck. All that is complete myths. So don't blame yourself. The second thing you have to remember is how many loops are there. Right? If it's just near the neck, if it's just casually draped over the neck, this is not going to make a difference. It's not kind of forming a tight noose, right? So it will definitely not hamper your chances of normal delivery. In some cases, there is a double loop, where the cord is wrapped a couple of times around the neck. So in this case, when the baby is trying to push through and come out, it can cause a little bit of a strangulation effect. And then that's something which is a little bit scary. So then the doctor would recommend a surgical birth in that situation. But a single loop or just lightly near the neck or near the baby, it's absolutely normal. You do not need to worry about it. Okay, so my next question says that I'm 37 weeks pregnant. My doctor mentioned, I already answered that one. What needs to be eaten more in the last trimester? I believe brain develops faster in last trimester. Can you suggest from your point of view? Yes, I agree. Brain development is the most rapid in the third trimester, and a diet rich in protein and omega-3 fatty acids will help you with the brain development in the third trimester. You might want to keep in touch with the Cordlife team. So whenever there is a diet and nutrition session being done in detail, you could get in touch with us. Or if you are in your third trimester and you would like an individual personal diet consult, you can again get in touch with me directly for that as well. I am currently in my week 37. I just went for my sonography. My baby's position is head down, weight is okay, amniotic fluid is also well, but my baby, I think I have pretty much explained this, that there's nothing that you can do. There are no exercises, no positions that can get the cord wrapped or unwrapped from my baby's neck. I have an IVF pregnancy and the doctor has said that I will have to go through a C-section probably by the end of next month. How long does it take to recover from it? And are there any specific things I need to take precautions? I also had placenta previa, but it has moved down. So what happens is that, when it's an IVF conception, because it's obviously precious and it's taken time, a lot of doctors do suggest that you should have a surgical birth. If the baby's position and all is okay, a trial of labor could be discussed. So that is something that you should have as a conversation with your doctor. Typically, it takes about 6 to 8 weeks to recover from a C-section, just to be able to start doing things normally. And it is possible that, for almost 6 months, you feel some aches, tugs, and pulls. So that's also pretty natural. But in most cases, we expect that you can go back to your normal lifestyle by the time you're about 8 weeks postpartum. All right. So I think I've taken care of so far all the questions. Are there any more questions that you guys would like to ask? I'd be really happy to answer them. I mean, you could also ask questions related to stem cell banking if you want. I'm sure Vinay would be happy to answer them to do. When can we start exercise post-delivery? Immediately on the day that you deliver, you can start exercising. But here the problem is that what kind of exercise do I have to do, right? So obviously you can't start going to the gym or jogging or running, etc. You'll start some gentle movements like arm rotations, wrist rotations, flexes. So a little bit gentle movements. Once your vaginal stitches heal, you can start going for a walk. And once your abdominal wound heals after a C-section in a month, you can start walking. But gentle walks, like, light walks around the house are possible right from the very beginning. There is absolutely no problem. In a vaginal birth, we expect that you're going to go back to being able to do all sorts of exercises that were 6 to 8 weeks. But in a cesarean section, I would say let's wait for 3 months before you hit the gym. I had less milk supply during my first delivery. What food would you suggest, as I don't have that issue the second time? One of the major reasons for low milk supply, ma'am, is low stimulation. So the more you feed the baby, the more milk you will produce. Stop worrying about it, because stress and anxiety also reduces milk supply. Make sure you have plenty of water. 12 to 14 glasses every day is highly recommended. There are no magic foods which are going to make milk. So don't think about that, because, many people think that, oh, I'm going to get this magic food that's going to make milk, or the doctor will give me a pill and that will make milk. But you're not latching the baby on, you're not stimulating. So that is what causes your milk flow supply issues. So adequate stimulation, plenty of water, 12 to 14 glasses, and lots of smiles would be your formula to making more milk. Are there any more questions? Would you like to ask anything else? I would also love some feedback. So if you've enjoyed this session, if there are any other topics that you are interested in, you can drop your suggestions. Even after the session is closed, you can still, you will get a feedback request. So we do expect to get your feedback, because that's a learning experience for us. We do want to learn and improve ourselves as well. So, ma'am, as I have suggested that labor can start anytime up to week 40. So you don't need to panic at week 38, the labor will start. So the best way is to let labor start naturally and spontaneously. Don't get into any kind of false ideas that I would have certain foods and labor would start and etc. So don't do that. Just consult your doctor if there is something that can be consumed which will help contractions to start. But ideally, I would not recommend doing any self-home remedies, right? The best bet is that once the baby's head engages, then the contractions generally start on their own. So walk, squat, and you can do pelvic rotations. So these are some of the videos that you can see on my channel as well, on the YouTube channel, which will show you how to do these exercises. So then you can kind of, start practicing them once you reach week 35. That will help the baby's head to engage. Once the pressure comes on the cervix also starts dilating. Thank you so much for your feedback. Really appreciate it. And we hope to kind of, stay in touch through all the various, contact details we have provided. Have a great day, and stay safe, have a healthy pregnancy, And the best thing that I would wish for every mother is have a healthy and happy baby. That's the best suggestion the best blessing that I would love to kind of, share with all of you. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining me on this Saturday morning. Thank you. Thank you so much for the kind words. I'm really glad that you found the session interesting and you loved it. I love doing something like this. It's something which is very, very enjoyable for me as well. Thank you.
When is a parent born? When your world changes in a moment. Nani? Or when the moment is celebrated by all. When you start learning again. Or with a new role. Is it your child's first breath? Or is it just a feeling? Parents are born when they fulfill a responsibility.
Your child's umbilical cord blood can provide protection from 80 life-threatening diseases. Keep it safe with Asia's largest stem cell bank, Cordlife. One chance, one choice.